So we're in the 7th day of a government shutdown. Yesterday, big shocker, the Senate once again failed to pass a continuing resolution. That makes it 5 times. They have voted 5 separate times. Each time has failed. And the president right now, he's framing this the way that he views it. He's winning the political battle. He is making the Democrats take responsibility, saying this is a Democrat shutdown. Has nothing to do with him or his party, allegedly. He never wanted to shut the government down. But most Americans increasingly are viewing this as both political parties are to blame, not just one. Recently, we have just heard from a Republican lawmaker in Congress, in the House of Representatives, by the name of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Maybe you've heard of her. She comes from Georgia. Now, she is saying that she is pro Affordable Care Act subsidies. She is for expanding the subsidies on health care. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not what you would call a moderate. No, instead you would probably call her far right. Right of the right. That's kind of where her political ideology is at. She has said some crazy things. But surprisingly now, it seems like she's more in line with the Democrats when it comes to expanding these healthcare subsidies, with the caveat that she does not want them to go to undocumented immigrants. So why does she take this position? It goes contrary to the Republican Party. She's breaking ranks completely. Why is she doing this? It's because of her kids. Her kids, their premiums for healthcare will double next year unless somebody does something. So Marjorie Taylor Greene took to X recently, yesterday, and this is what she had to say. Not a single Republican in leadership has given us a plan to help Americans deal with their health insurance premiums doubling. Those are some pretty strong words, and she caught a lot of people off guard by saying this. Now, she's not a senator, so it has nothing to do with the vote in the Senate, but it can add pressure to the Speaker of the House. So we'll see if that does anything. We're also learning that there's a senator that is no longer going to support the Republicans when it comes to passing the CR. Now, he suggested this. This is an individual that is from Maine. So it's a senator from Maine. He is a part of the Democratic caucus, and previously he has voted with the Republicans. But the reason why he doesn't want to vote that way anymore, or he is unlikely to vote that way, is because he isn't satisfied with the ability to negotiate with the other party. So he doesn't think the Republicans have done enough to negotiate with the Democrats. Meanwhile, the Trump administration continues the threat of mass layoffs in the federal workforce. If you caught it on Sunday, the president said these layoffs were already happening. They didn't have to happen. It's a shame the government shut down, but the layoffs are already happening. Now, the White House had to clarify those comments, and essentially they said what he meant to say were the furloughs are already happening. Well, we already know the furloughs are happening, and there's a huge difference between getting laid off and losing your job, or being furloughed, being sent to the house temporarily, and you will receive back pay at a later date. Those are huge things, right? So what's the impact so far of this shutdown? You can look over at the Transportation Department. Why that's important is because FAA is under the Transportation Department. And what we're seeing right now is air traffic controllers, those people that are responsible to make sure the planes don't go into each other, making sure safe flights are happening all across the country. Those people are calling in sick at a higher rate. So it's above average. And there's no COVID flare-up. There's no measles outbreak happening with the air traffic controllers. No, it's something else. It's the fact that we have over 13,000 air traffic controllers, and they're not going to be getting paid. Now, this upcoming paycheck, yeah, you'll get a partial paycheck. Most federal workers should receive a partial paycheck, but then after that, there's not going to be any money coming in. You're going to have to wait until the shutdown ends, and then you'll get the back pay. So that's an issue, but it's not just the air traffic controllers. Speaking of planes and flights and airports, it's also TSA. It's the individuals that frisk you before you get on a plane. There's 61,000 TSA agents, and they're calling in sick a little bit more too. And this is real familiar if you've been through the 2018-2019 government shutdown. 35 days in order to fund a wall on our southern border. That's what happened. One of the reasons why people think it ended after 35 days is because of the issues at the airport. We saw once again that the air traffic controllers were calling in sick. So is this going to be a repeat of what we saw, 5-6 years ago? Could be. To me, if I'm thinking about going to the airport and traveling, it's already stressful. It's already stressful, right? You have to go through immigration. You have to go through TSA. Man, that's the worst part of traveling. Getting to your location, sitting on the plane, not that bad. But all that stuff, all the operations that occur inside of an airport, it's highly stressful for most people, I would say. And the consequence of having less air traffic controllers that are showing up and less TSA agents, you're looking at longer lines. And the Secretary of Transportation already mentioned if there are not enough air traffic controllers, they're going to slow down the air traffic. They're going to slow down the flow of airplanes coming and going, and that's going to impact everybody. Now, another thing that's a huge problem the longer the shutdown continues is attrition. Attrition happens no matter what. In the best of times, attrition happens. In the worst of times, it gets increased. There's some studies that show during the last government shutdown, you had something like a 30% increase when it comes to attrition, meaning that people just leave the federal government. They leave the federal workforce. And this is really being done at a time where there's already downward pressure on the federal workforce. When it comes to the probationary purge, all of it, all the stuff, the hiring freeze, the government shutdown, everything is aligning to the perfect storm. So we're going to see more and more people getting squeezed out. It's not just going to stop at 300,000. It's going to well exceed that. And then in 2026, there will be retention problems. And there's some agencies right now that are considering expanding their incentives, giving more cash, giving more leave, giving more quality step increases to their workers because they understand this is a serious, real risk of losing talented individuals and also losing institutional knowledge, which continues to be a problem all throughout 2025. It's a problem this year, but you really won't see the true consequences until you go into 2026 and 2027 and beyond. Remember that even in this administration that's not really friendly to the federal workforce by and large, they're still trying to recruit and incentivize people to apply to become an air traffic controller, an ICE agent, cyber security, aviation. There are still demands within the federal workforce. Now, in addition to this, we also have a problem when it comes to age. Age is a big problem because for some reason, the federal workforce, the government cannot keep anybody under the age of 30. If you're under 30 years old, you want nothing to do with the federal government. And if you do get a job, it's only for a short period of time because you're leaving. Now, the answer might be really evident to you why this is a problem. A lot of leaders in the government right now, they're scratching their head and they're trying to figure it out. If you want to know a little bit more about that, check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.